over the years many issues of concern. And I'd just like to bring up one of those issues because it is a recurring issue, and that is the issue of arrest, detention, and deportation. The MMN vision for dignity of migrants is not being achieved. Migrants are being herded into trucks as we speak. They're being sent away. They're being rejected. They're being incarcerated. They're going home in shame and in debt. This is not dignified. So 15 years of work, we cannot be complacent. We still have to fight on the same issues as well as new issues. We have to keep pushing the barriers of the discussion to make sure that they are not closed discussions which go nowhere. We have to push the barriers.
So this was the past, and I think since then, clearly the Mekong Migrant Network has had a very important function. The books produced by the Mekong Migrant Network are the few still about migration in the Mekong from a regional perspective. And let's not forget that this kind of regional research is very expensive and most of the time is carried out by UN agencies. So the voice of local organization for the Mekong is something which up to today is nowhere also to find, if not with the Mekong Migrant Network. And this is a very important achievement. The other important achievement has been to be very frank, very straightforward, and always putting rights at the center of the network. I heard Jackie talking about whether at times the message should be watered down for the sake of probably reaching more compromise on certain position or achieving long-term goal. I think this is a very difficult question because at the same time we are seeing that very few actually really have a straightforward message. So the question is whether you need some organization that continue to insist on the need for change of what is happening and to put the interest of the migrants at the center, even if it costs in terms of uncompromising or being seen as uncompromising position. But I am sure this will be an issue that will be discussed at this meeting, which unfortunately I cannot attend. Now the challenge,
which we sometimes do miss out some other issues and the trends which are concerning labor migration and also very important but may not fall under specific thematic research. So at the moment, MMN has ongoing research and advocacy concerning role of countries of origin. We've done research and advocacy concerning recruitment practices, social exclusion, impact of social exclusion, migrating agriculture, special economic zone project, bottom of ASEAN, looking at the impact basically of how supply chain and how the economic system that keeps migrants at the very bottom of economic structure impact the lives and the work of migrants, and the healthcare related issues we look at.
And then in 2008, I was attending the first meeting with MMN in Laos, in Vientiane, Laos, PDR. The first day that I met Reiko at that time, so it's quite still new for me. I mean, quite recently for me. At that time, you know, I sat at the back, and I did not even know what's the real concept of migration. I did not feel any confidence to share input even during the meeting. Very shameful. But then today, I sit here in front of so many participants with confidence. So this is one of the success of MMN, to build capacity of what we call member organization, and for core person of the member organizations as well. This is very important. I still remember when I first was part of MMN, I used so many wrong words in terms of migration. For example, I call migrant without document illegal migrant. I call migration illegal migration. I call Rohingya people the boat people because I look at the news, the media, they always call Rohingya the boat people. But then because of this vocabulary project of MMN, internally we change our behavior on migrations as well. So since then, I call them undocumented migrant or migrant without document. We call irregular migration no more illegal migration. We call Rohingya in another term, not the boat people. They are not the boat people. That's to build mutual understanding among MMN members. This is one of the success of that project as well. And as far as I know, this book is highly welcomed by ILO, and ILO would like MMN to extend this book at the ASEAN level. It's not only Mekong vocabulary, but it should be ASEAN vocabulary. So that's amazing for this project.
So it's really, in ASEAN, even though they talk about the protection and promoting of the rights of the migrant workers, it's only talk about the regular migrant workers and always exclude irregular migrant workers and migrant workers in the informal sectors. So that's the MMN have been challenged the whole past in 15 years, that we still need to challenge in the coming future as well. But even though millions of migrant workers come through this national verification process to receive the recognition, the document from the government, but still these are up and down and never consistent. And still migrants are challenging until today to have a fully recognition of the country of origin and to exercise their citizen rights as well as to get the legal rights in destination country.
The way the migration policy in Thailand at least, has changed over the years is that, well, it's changed a lot. That's one of the problems. It's very inconsistent, but the latest iteration is very restricted. And so you are either in or you're out. And there's a big question mark about the people who are out. And actually there's even a question mark about a number of the people who are in, because even though they're supposed to have full registration with a passport or a certificate of identification, which entitles them to Social Security, many migrants are still working in the informal sector, which then excludes them from Social Security. So even though the government seems to try to be making it clearer and making it more of a single system, it's still fragmented.
But thinking about the protection, I did not say anything, but I talked with the migrant worker, especially for those who are working in Thailand. It is not my personal view, but the migrant personal view. They say there, I went undocumented is better than documented. You see, when I went undocumented and when I stay, I work in Thailand, then it's easy if I want to change the employer. Right? I do not need to go to seek the permission from the employer. I do not need to go to the provincial department or labor to notify that I need to change the employer. Right? This is the feeling of the migrant. And then they say that if I go by the company, I go to the MOU system, a lot of choice. And it will never guarantee that I was protected.
I think for the issue of documentation as well, we're looking purely at documentation for migrants. But in the Mekong region, it's a much bigger issue than that. It's documentation of citizens. I think it's a huge problem in Myanmar. There is a law that is so outdated and so many people fall outside of that law, and so people don't have any documentation in their own country. But I think it's not only Myanmar, I think it's all the countries in the Mekong. And where we may debate about documented and undocumented for migrants, I don't think you can really debate for in the current nation-state structure of the world that we can debate whether or not people should have documentation from their own country. And maybe we should be using this issue of documentation of migrants to, I mean, it's linked, of course, because you can't get the documentation of a migrant if you haven't got your ID card, your house registration. So we need to link it more as well, I think, to those issues. The root cause, people need their documentation, their citizenship in their own countries.
When they address the issue of migration, they did not use the human rights framework to address. They use the security framework to address, right? A citizen line, for example, like the national education or the registration in Thailand. I think maybe they have another purpose that they try to label, they try to identify who is who as a migrant worker. Beyond the benefit to the migrant worker, but they try to label who is who also the migrant worker. I think this is something that is really challenging.
Because an anti-human trafficking program is not a decent work framework. Yeah? It's not looking at empowering workers. It's looking at making people victims and therefore not having a voice. And I think it's one of, it has been for a long time, but it's one of our major barriers to getting this decent work for migrant workers out there. Because decent work for migrant workers is sort of challenging, is scary for governments, yeah, because it's you have a lot of workers with a voice who would be powerful. So it's very easy to say we'll do something, we'll slot them into human trafficking with people with no agencies who are victims. So I think it's one of the challenges that we have to face.
In last year, it was very great opportunity that we could do a policy dialogue with the governments of the countries of origin. So this is the way how we bring the voice from the ground to the government directly. So this kind of activities is very important that we should continue as a future plan. So even we can still continue as a follow-up sections for to see how government react on this issue. I can say that since last year, or after we met with the Ministry of Labor from Myanmar, they did visited to Thailand 2 times already, but they met with the civil society organization in Thailand. It's not really direct to the migrant yet, but we hope in the future they might have a chance, or they might be interesting to be able to go right to investigate all the situation right to the migrants in Thailand.
Because I did look at the table and saw all the different publications, and but at the same time, we have an underlying or a core theme, and it is social inclusion. It's just various iterations of what that looks like and how it's translated into certain sectors or certain policies. So maybe we just need to articulate our idea, our vision of social inclusion more, and we can then continue using that and kind of elevating migrant workers' voice as one of our 2 core functions. So promoting social inclusion and amplifying migrant workers' voices. But then we really do have to be careful about chasing rabbit holes, because like the agriculture is one, and these other the SEZ, right? Exactly. And so those are very specific, and again, there's a bit of a danger that we finish and then what? So we need to find ways that we push our core issue of social inclusion,